Writing with Authors. We have an exciting one today. He is fresh off the plane, coming back from his Barnes & Noble book release up in New York. So, Rob, welcome to Writing with Authors.
Thanks so much for having me. Great to be here.
I'm excited to catch up. We had him recently record on That Entrepreneur Show, and now we're bringing him back here for Writing with Authors. Again, a huge accomplishment. Congratulations. Barnes & Noble, New York City. We'll learn all about that. But, of course, we don't just celebrate the wins. We're going to talk about how he got there, some writing tips for you, and, of course, a lot more on this book. This is Writing with Authors. Welcome back. My name is Vincent A. Lancy, and today we're diving into another great author here in about 15 minutes of pure, right to the point writing advice and book recommendations. We're brought to you here today by Coming Alive Podcast Production.com, and be sure to head to HeyDadBook.com to check out more on today's guest book. But let's talk about what went into putting this book together.
Well, so the actual catalyst for this book was really a late night call from my daughter. As any parent can attest, that middle of the night, late night call is like the thing we dread the most. And so laying in bed, sound asleep, get that phone call, panicked, pick up the phone. I see it's her, heart's racing. And I pick up, I'm like, what's wrong? Because that's my first instinct. What's wrong? Dad, can I put the green gas in my Jeep? So my heart had to come down quite a bit. I'm like, what? Okay, so you're not side of the road. You're not, like, what do you mean green gas? She's like, yeah, I'm at a gas station. They don't have any of the regular gas. Can I put the green gas in my Jeep? Green gas, obviously meaning the green handle, which is diesel. She has a gasoline vehicle, which is the Jeep. No, clearly you can't. But at that moment, I thought, have I been focused on so many other things that I have not paid attention to what I need to teach my kids? And then it brought me back to, like, for the past 28 years, I've been providing for my kids, doing things. And as they've gotten older and as they've gone through this adulting stage, I realized maybe I didn't teach them everything they knew. And talking with other parents, they're like, yeah, I get the same thing. And so I sought to go out for the last few years, about a year, and write a book, but not only just write it on my perspective, but actually interview 30 experts, everything from Navy SEALs to emergency paramedics to everybody in between, to try to get a foundational book on being an adult.
I love that. I know it's not your first book, so we're going to circle back to that beautiful book you got there behind you. If you're looking on Writing with Authors, he's also got Beyond the Building. Head to his Amazon page, of course, and Barnes & Noble to learn more about that. What is your daughter's takeaway now that it's published?
Well, it's funny. If you watch my Instagram, I was just with her and I'm watching her read the book, and she's like, because I think I have three daughters and one son, and they're all like, okay, did you make me look stupid? Did you make me look foolish? And I said, no. Actually, I'm really quick to point out, writing this book, I actually learned stuff. Like, even at 55, you're always adulting. You're always learning. And so I said, don't worry about it. I didn't mention you by name. She's like, well, people are going to know, but it's all good. It's all good. She was okay with it.
Oh, well, congratulations on getting another book out there.
Thanks.
What lessons did you have from writing book number one that helped make this one possible to get done in 1 year? I know it was a different context, different subject area, but breezed right through. And not only did you breeze through it, you secured a spot at Barnes & Noble, New York. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things, I think of the first book, and I think every first author sort of does this, where they're like, you're drinking from a fire hose, right? You're trying to learn everything. You don't know anything, right? It's not like I came from a literary background. And so I took everybody's word. Like, people said, oh, editor, like, no, move this around, do this. And it didn't really become my own. It sort of started out as my own, and then it just got morphed into something that was slightly my own. The second book, I really became much more of a loud voice in it. And I said, you know what? Now, I appreciate this. I appreciate these comments, but this is the way I want it. This is the way I want to present it. And it was more in my tone. It was less of copywriter or copy editors and, things like that. So I think the biggest advice I give to authors, even a first time, this is your book. You're working hard on this thing. You're spending your time, your money, everything about it into it. Make it your own. Don't let somebody push you around and give you advice.
While everyone may mean well, you have to remember the core and the reason, your why into writing this book. And I think as we become more seasoned authors, I have certain people that do certain things for my projects. You have to leverage their skill sets. And I always shout
Yes.
out Ants, who are my proofreaders, right? They help me reread this because even though mistakes do happen, every book I read, I'm always finding a miscomma or a misspelling of words. So you're often blinded by your own light. So don't ever give up, and just remember there's never going to be a perfect product in anything in this world. So
Right.
you're set.
Yeah, and advice is I use that word. I probably incorrectly use that word advice. You should take advice from everybody, but what you actually take from it and do from it. I took everybody's advice and was changing it. So I'm like rewriting and re-editing and doing stuff all the time. That's not good. Taking advice from people, yeah, and absolutely. I'm from copy editor is your best friend.
Right. While I took a car care class in high school, I'm an author, podcaster. I wouldn't necessarily come to me for car advice, right? So
Uh-huh.
when you're asking advice, try to get that expert. And I think that's something you did an incredible job on for this book. You mentioned 30 experts to build that foundation. What's something that we can learn from this book if we're maybe a kid like your daughter reading this, like something right off the bat where you're like, oh, darn, I really did miss this.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I think there's some soft skills that I think my kids and I think others sort of lack, and that's the skill of networking. Networking is so critical to young adults to get ahead. And I think that you talk about the COVID problem, right? It was they were basically confined. They didn't have these interpersonal skills that they need to, one, get a job, move into another place, make friends, make connections, get ahead at work, all of these things. So networking is probably this one skill that they've lost. And I really want people to really focus on that. Do what you can to get yourself out there. I know you're uncomfortable with it, but go out there and do it. So that's one. The second thing is budgeting and financial freedom. My kids are like, oh, budget. I don't really want a budget because it's, budgets are bad. I can't have fun. No, budget's there to help you. Financial freedom is so empowering. It's going to be the difference between having a happy life and a miserable life, right? Always being in debt, always being broke, always worrying about where your money's coming from. That's no way to live. And I come from experience. I lived that way. When I was young, got out of school, I didn't know what I was doing. I spent like a drunken sailor. But now, now knowing back what happened and how it impacted me and the pain and suffering it took on my life, I don't want that for anybody. So doing simple things that's just like financial freedom and budgeting is critical.
Of course, and one of the things about being an entrepreneur, every cent is magnified. I've never taken any funding or anything. We're coming on 10 as we're recording this. Oh, we're a few days away actually from 10 years. I think it's May 5th.
Congratulations.
2015, my MBA speech. Thank you. And I didn't really get it together until about 7.5, 8 years, right? Navigating the storm and not budgeting. It was a big part of that, where one of my first lessons learned was I got my first check over $5,000 and I took my foot off the gas, where I didn't continue to network and do all these things, where I learned you have to pretend you're on zero at all times or negative in your bank account, because we have these swings where maybe you'll get 3 clients this month, but you may not get anything next month. Did I save anything? So that's a great point for everyone out there. Great advice for anyone of all ages. But of course, here on Writing with Authors, I like to ask for writing advice. What's one piece of advice you can offer maybe first-time authors this time?
I think stay consistent, right? I think it's, I think there's this sort of this thing where people feel like there's some, romanticism to writing, and, it can be fun and it's great. And yeah, when you get creative, it's great. But in reality, it's a job, right? You've got to set your time. And so put and apply your time to it. And do high focus times, right? If you look at my calendar, because writing is not my full-time job. It's a part-time job and it's a fun job, but it's not my day job. I run businesses. And so I have to block out, but I put these times in a color code and I stay consistent doing it. So color coding your calendar and staying consistent and doing it, and knowing the day before, at the end of every day, I go through and I say, oh, okay, I'm going to write at between 10 and 11 o'clock tomorrow. I want to make sure I get this, and this done. And once I block that and I do it, I'm committed to doing that. I think it's helpful. Otherwise, you get these writers like, how long have you been writing? I was at this Barnes & Noble yesterday, or yesterday, 2 days ago. at my book signing, and I have people who are like, "Oh, I'm an author. I've been working, and I really want to do it." How long have you been writing your book? 8 years, 9 years. I mean, I've been hearing these things. I was like, you've got to get off the gas, or you've got to get on the gas, right? Get off the brake, get off your ass, and get writing. Just do it a little bit. And if you can't do an hour, do 30 minutes. But the more you get into it, the better. And the more you start getting into your flow is really good.
I can resonate. My first book was my longest, but it was also 4 or 5 years. And I think, like you're saying, being consistent and accountability, those are the differences. As I'm learning now as an entrepreneur in my 10th year coming on, a lot of businesses do fade. A lot of things do fade. You hear those stats of, whatever they may be, the overwhelming number of why they fail. It comes down to showing up for yourself every single day. For me, I time block my day before, every day before bed. I know exactly what I'm doing. Like you, live and die by the calendar. And I would challenge everyone here, if you're having trouble getting it done, just remember, again, there's no perfect book. There will never be a perfect book. It's physically impossible. There's no way it will be perfect. You can always make a second version if you think you forgot something or messed something up. And I think that's really impactful, because now you already have this audience built. They're already your readers. They're your target. Now you can come up with another version. They're excited to see all the value you added. And now I want to ask, before I ask where to find this book online, what's next for you? I know you were on that Entrepreneur Show. What are you working on now as we head into summer?
So I'm writing from a writing perspective. I've got 2 more books going on. Yep. So at the same time, which is stupid. I don't advise that, though. It comes down to back to that question about the consistency of writing. If you're really enjoying something, right, then that's very different, right? So I've got a fiction novel that I'm writing, which is fun, right? I enjoy doing this because it's like fantasy world, right? You get to create stories and personas and all that other stuff. So it gets to, from a stimulation standpoint, it's a lot of fun. And then I've got another book, which is more of an improvement style book, very consistent with Hey Dad, maybe geared a little bit more towards young males. Okay. Entering the workforce, right? Or sort of in the same demographic, but very specific to them from a business and a personal development standpoint.
I love it. You're really creating this little niche now with these books. You might have to even get the toddler one going for you next, the babies one, the whole series. But I'm very inspired by you, just as I was on that Entrepreneur Show. So thank you for switching gears, coming over to Writing with Authors, a show that I created as a passion project to highlight the great work of all of these authors all around the world and help you aspiring writers not have that 8-year, 9-year plan. Just remember to get it out there, get some feedback from the correct people, and you're off to a great start. Where can we find you online other than we have here on the screen here, heydadbook.com?
Yep, you can always go to my website, which is robfinlay.com. So, and there you'll see my other book, Beyond the Building, and all the other stuff that I'm involved in.
Well, thank you for sharing that, everyone. Be sure to go connect with them online and on LinkedIn as well. Please, Rob, keep me posted with these next books so we can bring you back on the show and talk about everything that has to go with those new ones. It's always impressive to see the more books come out from these authors. And as someone who just plays a small part in getting to get the word out there, I absolutely love getting motivated, because with writing, it is mundane, right? Eventually you may hit that wall, but if you are passionate about it, similar to entrepreneurship, you'll find a way to power through. I challenge you to set a 5-minute goal each day, and then at least 5 minutes. So some days you get 10, but then once you hit 10, we can't go backwards to 5. It's at least 10 the next day. Before you know it, when that aggregates over the course of a month, you'll be a published author before you know it. My name is Vincent A. Lancy. I want to encourage you to please check us out next time here on Writing with Authors. There is no set schedule here, so remember to subscribe to this channel. Rob, thanks so much for connecting. I'm going to go let you get some sleep after this great trip, and congratulations once again.
All right. Thanks, Vince. Appreciate it, buddy.